Hello. Today's question comes to me from a superforecaster friend who wants to know if the new de facto head of state of Syria is going to meet with any foreign heads of state in 2025. Now, this is an interesting question because although he has met with, I believe, a foreign minister of Qatar, meeting with the head of state is both practical and symbolic. So they may have discussions with each other about something or other practically, but it also has a symbolic sense that head of state is recognizing the other head of state. So we're going to discuss this a little bit as the bot does its work, and we'll see what comes up out of that. So at this point, you may be asking yourself, what on earth is a super forecaster? The word comes from Professor Phil Tetlock, who is the founder of something called the Good Judgment Project. And he's made a study of how well people make predictions over time. And he's discovered that certain people are much, much better at making predictions than other people. And he feels that it's a teachable subject. I'll drop a link to his book below. So today's question is, will Ahmed al-Shara meet with a foreign head of state in person in 2025? I've added additional information because this is relatively recent. I don't know how well the coverage in the news will be. So it's actually necessary to specify who he is. Al-Shara, also known as Abu Muhammad al-Julani, I think, is the de facto head of Syria following the December 2024 ouster of Bashar al-Assad. Let's see what this has to say. It's going to be very dependent on the quality of the news that I can locate. While we wait for the bot to finish its work, I've got something cool from my collection to show you. So this here looks like a little glass bottle, like one of those things that you fill with different colored sand and it looks pretty. I'll give you a hint. It's 65 million years old. The dark gray in the middle is it's asteroidal debris, and it's very high in iridium. So this here is what's known as a KT sample. I'll put pictures in as well. And this marks the extinction of the dinosaurs 65 million odd years ago. And below at the bottom, there's soil or grain samples that include various kinds of fossil elements. You can see it actually if you look at under a microscope or a strong loupe. Then in the middle, you've got this layer of ash and asteroidal debris and iridium and the like, micrometeorites. And then on top, you've got another set of samples that does not contain anything dinosaur related. So this here marks the extinction of the dinosaurs. Yeah, several countries began engaging with the new Syrian leadership. Jordan, Ukraine, U.S. officials conducted first high-level meetings in Turkey. Base rate of only 30%, moderate likelihood. However, this has to do really with how some of the situations have played out in the past elsewhere in the world. It's not necessarily specific to Syria or the current age. But it does look like the bots are coming in with quite a high likelihood. So model value is 77%, which is remarkably, it's actually quite remarkably high. Let's see what the summary says. It says, Ahmed al-Shara, also known as Abu Muhammad al-Julani, has become the de facto leader of Syria following the ousting of Bashar al-Assad. His rise to prominence is marked by active international engagement, such as diplomatic interactions with Ukraine's foreign minister and the U.S., dropping a substantial bounty on him, signaling potential improved relations. Yeah, it was a $10 million bounty that they had on his head from his time as a jihadist, and they've dropped that in recently as a result of the current situation. So these developments suggest a potentially high likelihood of al-Shara meeting with a foreign head of state in 2025, especially considering the geopolitical significance of Syria in the region. So they kind of gloss over this, but this really talks about how Syria is stuck between countries like Turkey and Israel on the one axis, and Lebanon and Iraq on the other axis, and it certainly forms part of the sphere of influence of Iran in recent years. So there's a lot at play here. Reading further, however, this prediction remains uncertain due to several factors. The volatile political landscape in Syria continues to pose challenges, including the potential for competing factions to undermine al-Shara's authority and the possibility of Assad or new groups attempting to regain power. I don't see Assad coming back, but the possibilities include further encroachments by Turkey or other neighboring states. Or the recurrence of Islamic State or other groups of that nature. Additionally, international recognition is still in its early stages, and shifting geopolitical dynamics, unreliability of current news sources, and external crises could hinder the possibility of high-level diplomatic meetings occurring. I wouldn't be surprised if a meeting with the head of state actually occurred and didn't get reported. So, for instance, if he attends any international conferences where there's heads of states present at the conference, it's possible that they would set up some kind of side meeting, and it may not even get reported. But the prediction is very high. I think probably it needs to be moderated a little bit because 1 year is a relatively short time frame, and there's a lot happening over there. But it certainly seems to be a feasible sort of thing that could happen. So my super forecaster friend and I had a discussion today about al-Julani, who is the de facto head of Syria after ousting Bashar al-Assad in December. And he's already, to my understanding, met with at least one head of, not a head of state, but a foreign minister from one of the Arab states. It could have been Qatar, I don't recall. But the question is whether or not he would meet with a head of state, whether it's an Arab state surrounding or somebody else. And I was thinking, I was kicking around whether or not that he leads basically a very diverse set of different factions in a coalition, and some of those factions are jihadist, and they may continue to attack minorities, etc. in Syria. It's that they've done so in the past, and they may continue to do so. So I thought maybe that would have some kind of bearing on whether or not he would achieve recognition by other heads of state. And the other thing that I considered was whether or not his coalition has the potential to fall apart as a result of frictions. Whether or not there's other groups that could rise up in opposition to him. There've already been some, but relatively weak at this point. That could potentially increase. So does the stability of his governance have any bearing on the matter? And what we concluded was that actually probably no, it doesn't. And this may be a case of realpolitik in action, because many states may want some other counterweight to Iran in the region. And it may be that states will hold their nose and release frozen funds and recognize his government in order to create that kind of counterweight. So we'll have to see what happens, but it looks like there's quite a lot of complexity to the situation, and it's very much realpolitik in action. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, including the extended commentary. Please feel free to drop comments below, and including if you have any questions that you want to pose to the bot. See you next time.